Schiff is scrambling to put together a report with, quote, facts on Trump-Russia collusion by Aaron Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. After over a year of investigating Trump and his campaign team of colluding with Russia, zero evidence has been turned up. But apparently, Adam Schiff is going to change all that. And he announced on ABC's This Week that House Intel Democrats are putting together a report which will apparently contain facts, quote, supporting Trump-Russia collusion. You know, this guy swings one way and then the other way. This guy's a mess.
That misappropriated information used by this digital arm of the Trump campaign to manipulate American voters, and of course the links between Cambridge Analytica and Julian Assange. We know Nix reached out to Assange to try to acquire stolen Clinton emails. The links between this Russian researcher and Cambridge Analytica, and the links between Russian Analytica and a Russian oil company, Lukoil, that wanted information about reaching American voters. All of that needs to be investigated, and the premature conclusion of this investigation doesn't allow us to do our job.
We mentioned those subpoenas to the Trump Organization earlier this week. As that was happening, I was sitting down with the president's business partner on the proposed Trump Tower in Moscow, Felix Sater. He revealed to me that they were seeking financing from Russian banks. And then I went on to ask him if it was appropriate for a presidential candidate to be pursuing a deal like that while he was running for president. Here's what he said.
I can't answer that. I can only answer in the following way. A beautiful building could have been built, and maybe even improved goodwill relations between the countries because of it. I didn't see any downside.
He's still hoping, actually, that that tower can be built. You mentioned your concerns with money laundering. Did you come across any information in your investigation, and I know the House Intelligence Committee spoke with Felix Sater, that would raise questions about this attempt to build a Trump Tower in Moscow?
Well, you know, the two big red flags on that attempt are the indications that they were trying to seek financing from a Russian-sanctioned bank, a bank that was sanctioned by U.S. policy, U.S. government, but also the fact that they were concealing this transaction. The candidate Trump was saying he had no business interest in Russia, and if he's seeking to make a bunch of money in Russia during the presidential campaign, and it certainly looks like his campaign chairman Paul Manafort was likewise seeking to make money, was that influencing candidate Trump's policy? Does it influence President Trump's policy now? That issue, as well as whether Deutsche Bank was using Russian money, laundering Russian money for the Trump Organization, needs to be investigated, because if these are levers that the Russians can still use over the President of the United States, it would be negligent with our national security not to find out.
Finally, sir, on Andrew McCabe, does the fact that the Inspector General did find that he lacked candor in some of his responses, and that his firing was recommended by career FBI officials, does that give you pause, and does it suggest that in fact his firing was or may be justified?
You know, his firing may be justified. There's no way for us to know at this point. But even though it may have been justified, it can also be tainted. And I think the president's badgering Attorney General, his urging that he be fired before his pension could vest, and the fact that McCabe and every other of the James Comey associates, his general counsel Baker, his chief of staff Wright Bickey, who corroborate James Comey on the issue of potential obstruction of justice, every one of them has been targeted by the administration, by the Republicans in Congress. And is this because they corroborate James Comey? That's a question we also have to answer.
Well, you can see that that Adam Schiff is delusional, because they have a lot more on McCabe than just this collusion information. And you know, when they get to the bottom of this, they are going to be the laughing stock of this country. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.